Hello and welcome to our video series on Tech for Good. In this series we'll be chatting to values-led business owners and discuss what Tech for Good means to them. Enjoy! So this is the first video in a series about Tech for Good. Today I'm joined by Jeremie Warner of Power Life. So basically the idea behind this series is I want to explore Tech for Good, what it is, how we can do more with it, and how we can empower others to embrace it. So this is the first video of the series. We're going to be looking at other businesses that embrace the Tech for Good mantra. We want to highlight them and find out a little bit about what they do and maybe what we can learn from that and maybe what they can learn from us. So yeah, first of all, Jeremie, it's good to have you.
Pleasure to be here. Pleasure to be here.
Do you want to maybe just give yourself a little wee introduction?
Sure. So, I'm Jeremie, the founder of Power Life. We are a buy-to-give business. We sell power banks, wireless chargers, and more recently, tree-free notepads. And for each product that we sell, we gift a solar light for our energy products, and we're giving away notepads and jotters with our tree-free notepads. Main route to market, main customer is corporate, so it's corporate merchandising, corporate gifting. Currently doing our gifting of solar lights in the Bulawayo region of Zimbabwe, and we're up to, literally today we click go on a huge shipment of solar lights. So we're up to
Fantastic.
about 4,500 lights that we've gifted in Bulawayo now. So yeah, that's me in a nutshell.
Yeah, awesome. So we actually first met, I think, back when we were in our Pee-wee stages at Power Youth. Yeah, I remember getting my first PAL mini bank and getting it in the airport. Actually, I think you were in the airport with me on the way to another Power Youth retreat.
Yeah,
incredible. So yeah, so what brought you into the world of giving and buying to give?
Sure. So, our origin story probably started in not too dissimilar circumstances that the world's going through right now. We were born out of the credit crunch. I was working what I thought was my dream job in Singapore. I was an architecture student at the time, designing multi-million-pound mansions on private islands, private beaches for just eye-wateringly wealthy people. But there was a feeling, or certainly that's what my motivation to do this was, that the rich stay rich even when the world is falling apart around us, and the houses that we were building were mostly built by barefoot Bangladeshis. So came back to uni, geared all of my studies towards humanitarian design, using my design skills to empower the poor, not the rich. Headed off to Senegal, lived off grid with a couple of friends, Stephen as well, who you might remember, Josh, from those Power Youth days. It was like a lifetime ago. Lived off grid, put into practice participatory design methods, so getting community buy-in to designing projects to alleviate problems in these communities. And the big outcome for us that we took away was that as soon as the sun sets in these countries and these communities, we live in complete darkness. So that was a huge challenge for us. We were doing like a 40-kilometer round trip to charge laptops and phones. And then obviously completely dark for the villagers when we were coming back. So, that was where the idea for the business came from, which was we would sell high quality, powerful power products for the likes of you and me to keep us charged when we're going through airports, living that digital lifestyle. And then for each product that we would sell, we would go and empower the communities that we were working with. So yeah, as I said, born out of similar difficult circumstances, or this recession is looking a lot more painful than the last one. But yeah, looking to do good and use the design skills to empower the poor, not the rich.
Yeah, it's an awesome story, and it's fantastic that it wasn't just like, this is something we're going to do. You'd kind of witnessed firsthand austerity and this kind of widening gap between the two, and you ran with it. When you first started, you said that you had a vision in mind for empowering people. Did you necessarily associate that with being Tech for Good? I don't even know. Do you think Tech for Good was even a thing back then?
I don't know that it was. I think we were. I don't want to say we were pioneers because it saw a lot of smoke to be blown up your own backside. But like when we were first starting out, we work, I would still call us a social enterprise. Like we're a social business, but it depends who you're talking to, right? Which legal definition or which funding body or which government organization. You're like, which mold do we fit and how do we explain what we do to fit said mold? So I think, yeah, terms like social business, social venture, social enterprise, tech for good, I think that the vocabulary I would say it's catching up to the reality of what's going on.
Yeah.
Because people need to be able to define what certain things are or certain people are doing. I don't think we didn't go out to Senegal with any preconceived ideas as to what these solutions were going to be. That was like number one for this participatory design process. Was we can't go in with preconceived ideas. We don't want to be the white guys going in these communities being like, here's your problem, here's your solution, take it or leave it. Like our approach was completely the opposite, which was let's sit down together underneath the tree, we'll chat it all through, what's the biggest challenge, and then come up with a solution. So no, I would say, I don't know, tech for good. I would say that we are tech for good, but it's not necessarily the badge that we were going out with.
Yeah. It's funny you say about social enterprises and that whole journey, because I remember, about 5-6 years ago, that was the buzz, and it's how these kind of phases kind of evolve, and we've kind of arrived now at tech for good, and it's something that I've personally struggled with a little bit, because is it just a buzzword, or is it an easy way to describe a collection of values or approaches?
Probably a bit of both, right? Probably a bit of both. I think we always struggled with it, where strictly speaking, and I don't know, like Wikipedia or wherever you want to go get your definition, a social enterprise, it has to be profit making. Like it has to be an enterprise, right? You can't just be an organization that's reliant on philanthropic donations, because to my mind, then you're not an enterprise, you're not a business. So are you really a social enterprise? So I don't know. I think, yeah, as I said, like we really struggled with this at the start, which was, do we become a kick, like a community interest company? Are we a charity that owns a company? Like, what's our legal structure? It's like, oh, enough of that nonsense. Like we just want to go and make a difference in the world, and we're going to do it through using the power of business, which to my mind is a social enterprise, right? So yeah, it's a tricky one. It's a tricky one, because that's not to do. It's not to take away any sort of like credit to folk that are out there doing it. Like there's some super impressive folk out there that are kicks and charities that own companies, and they are fitting these legal definitions, and they do incredible things. Just for us, I don't know. We just
It wasn't
wanted
going
to
to
use
be a way to enable you.
No, like we're entrepreneurial, so like we are. Like the core of what we do is empowering kids with lights. Like we are, like the core of our business is the more product we can sell, the more impact we can create. But that's not to say that I'm not motivated by money, right? Like I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a businessman, right? Like it's
You need to keep your
part
own
of the
lights
reason I'm
on.
doing it. That's it. Feeding the family and keeping the lights on in the shed.
Yeah. So you've recently launched this tree-free paper, and this is your first non-technological product. Do you
Right.
have any thoughts about that? How does that change
Sure.
your messaging?
Yeah, no, incredible question. Maybe like stepping back a couple of steps to answer it though. So when we first launched, Josh, we were B2C, right? Like, and I still think that there is a B2C opportunity out there. It's just, I don't know. We need to fish where the fish are swimming, and for us right now, that is B2B, is corporate gifting, and we can sell in like volumes that we could never dream of targeting B2C. So when we launched Power Life at the beginning, it was going to be mobile accessories, it's phone cases, it's charge cables, it's power banks. So it's that sort of digital nomadic, sort of like moment lenses and like nomad cape, like that's where we kind of saw that we would fit in. But when we started to gain a real traction with the co-branded products for corporates, that kind of changes the nature of the product portfolio that we're building. So corporate customers, some of them might take phone cases and they've asked, but it's a difficult one to be doing like 1,000 phone cases for 20 odd different handsets, and that doesn't quite work.
It doesn't scale the same way.
No, not at all. Whereas with the notepads, we know that the corporates buy thousands. They buy thousands of these things. So it's more customer led for this product rather than us trying to fill a gap in a market that we're trying to fill. So yeah, I mean, I'm excited by it. I think you're a designer yourself, right? So
Yeah.
you'll certainly appreciate a nice notebook, a moleskin.
Yeah.
I do as well.
100%. I only just finished my had a Made Brave moleskin that I think
Right.
we got at one of their birthday parties.
Yes, yes, yes.
And I
Amazing.
just filled it. So I've been eyeing up years for my next purchase.
There you go. There you go. No, we'll
Um,
sort you out. We'll send you some samples, Josh.
I
No,
really like the product actually fits with the solar lights because this fundamental vision behind is supporting learning, and
100%.
I think
And
it's a nice tie-in.
love it. And I think so our charity partner on the ground in Bulawayo was Family Impact. And when we were out there, literally the week before lockdown here in March, we were out there doing that sort of exploratory exercise. We're given the lights and it's super exciting, but what else can we do for the kids? Because the need out there is great, and it's in a lot of different areas. So whether it be because kids that can't afford school fees, they need to drop out, right? Kids that can't afford their uniforms, they can't attend the classes. So there's a ton of different things that we could be doing. But the advice that we got was try and do things that will be transformational and scalable. So trying to find 50 quid for the kids that can't get in, like can't afford the school fees, it becomes difficult. And then you're prioritizing individual kids.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if we're like, you know what, we can do stuff for classrooms or schools, I think that's where they give for the notepads. It becomes a little bit easier and it becomes more transformational and scalable, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think this is the first one. There's plenty more ideas to come, and again, we're trying to like adapt to what our customers or businesses, corporate. So we're trying to identify where are you buying, what are you buying, and what would be an appropriate buy to give for that type of product. And I think the notepads, it just felt like a no-brainer, you know.
Yeah, no, definitely. And as you say this, being transformational, you're able to give centrally and allow the locals to effectively distribute how they see fit and how they need to.
Totally. So
Um,
we call it a hub and spoke model. So like we send or we ship, so 3,000, it's 3,100 lights on their way FedEx to Bulawayo, and then it'll get distributed from that hub. Yeah, so like we would explain it as the hub and spoke model, and it's a great point that you mentioned there, Josh, about the locals deciding who is in need. And there's maybe just a wee anecdote from when I was out with videographer Simon at the start of the year. We were there for five days doing the gifting Monday through Friday. On day one, we were somewhat rusty. Like it was the first time we'd been out to Zimbabwe or Senegal in a good number of years. And I guess there was an expectation from the charity partner in the schools that we would be the foreigners coming for a school assembly. We'd shake everybody's hand. There'd be a big song and dance. It's like, I don't feel comfortable doing that. Like, it's not who I'm not doing this for the glory. But by
yeah,
the end of that 4 or 5 day period, we had it totally down. Like we had Uncle Dom, local pastor, black guy, so not the white guy going into the black schools, who was then the local leader to be the one doing the gifting. And
yeah,
I don't then need to be the one being like, here's that foreigner who's coming to fix all of our problems. It was empowering a local leader to be the
yeah.
one to give the lights to the kids, which for us is really powerful. And yeah, it just doesn't. It's not my personality type to be the one to be being in the center of attention in front of like 300-400 kids. Whereas
Yeah.
it makes more sense to empower the local leaders to be doing that.
Totally. Actually, it reminds me of Simon Coley, the founder of Karmacola. I saw
Right.
him speak last year, and he was talking about how they came up with Karmacola, where they were just sick of tasting crap sugary drinks, and they wanted to make their own. But it was, first of all, it was this whole process of, okay, learning about the cola nut and going to the communities where it's harvested, and then, okay, so how can we work with you to buy your produce, but also to not like take over. And so it's all about this, same as you, working with local partners, getting to know the communities, understanding their needs, their wants, and working in partnership rather than just a supply chain. And
No,
I
I love
think
it.
that it's transformational, and I think it really speaks volume about the character of a business and what they're trying to do. And I think that when people and for you, corporates identify the values they want to align themselves with, that because you're doing it, which is great.
100%, 100%.
So we've talked about social enterprises and then tech for good. Where do you see this going? You said we're getting, further away from it just being a buzzword, and businesses are getting closer aligned to what the buzzword is actually about. Where do you see this all going for, Joe Blogs down the street? You're comfortable with how you're aligned and with the direction that your business is going. What do you think that means for your next customer and people as a whole?
Right. I
Sorry,
think that
it's a big
no,
question.
Like I love these questions, because there's pros and cons to all of it. And as a small business, like, let's touch on it. Like there are challenges in amongst all of that. I think first off, the typical consumer on the street, like, they're far more aware as to like the impact of their purchasing. Like they just know it now, right? Like if you've watched, was it like Planet Earth, the Attenborough, plastic free, like, yeah, the consumer is far more savvy and wants to be buying products that do good. That's a given. We've known this for a while. The corporates are now catching up. Like the corporates are now also wanting to do that, right? Like I think if we're going to try and tackle SDGs and climate change and bad consumption of resources and whatnot, a lot of it will be consumer pull from the bottom, but it has to be like corporate push from the top. So yeah, I think any company that is trying to green up their image or remove plastic from the supply chain or make their products recyclable, like, it should be, we need more of that, right? And the consumer is wanting it, and the corporates know that they should be doing it. The challenge that we face being a small company is like the one that comes to mind, because we're currently going through the process and have been for a while, is like B Corp accreditation, for example, right? Like more and more customers are asking, are you a B Corp? Are you a charity? And it's like, no, we're not a charity, but we're currently working our way through the B Corp accreditation process. And the challenge that we have is like a 2.5-man band is, no, we don't have an HR manual because there's only 2 of us. No, we don't have a massively diverse workforce because we're like 2 guys. Like, do you know what I mean? Like on paper, when we're filling in, you're like, please fill in this box that gives no real space for explanation as to why you're 100% male. It's like, well, we're literally a 2-man team, and Becca's on a day a week, but she's part-time. So it's challenging. And I've heard it from others on like panels that I've been on recently, where they're like, don't forget that although, like we feel like we do fit the mold for being a B Corp, and we're going through the accreditation process, and I'm sure that in time we will be able to get that stamp on our business. But it's like, I've been told, don't forget that these folk are an industry, right? They're not an international standard. They are a marketing stamp for your business. It's a global industry, and you're going to have to pay your registration fees to get that stamp on your business. So if you're being a real cynical about it, you're like, do I really have to have someone that's never met me, has never actually stepped foot in the shed or seen the impact that I create with my team on the ground in Africa, telling me that I'm a good person? It's like, no. Like, I don't need your permission to go do good in the world, right? But anyway, that's me. It's super cynical, but at the same time,
it's funny you mentioned the B Corp stuff, because we started that as well. And we hadn't intended to start it because we knew it's a long process. It's not an overnight thing. You really need to have someone dedicated for an extended period of time. And, as a small business, that's hard work. So we actually started with wanting to do the Can Be Scot initiative, which is basically like the Scotland semi-skim version of it. This is how we want to position ourselves. But I actually, by going through that process, it kind of just took me to the B Corp assessment page, and I've been doing it now for a couple of months, and I'm about halfway through the questions because I'm just picking away at it. And it is, you're like, you're going through the questions, and you're like, how, do you have motion sensor lights in your bathroom? And I was like, well, no, because we're an office of like 13 people, and the lights are just switched off in the bathroom unless you're in it.
Yeah. No, the one that I loved answering, Josh, was like, it was around like using renewables for your heating. So I'm looking at my wood stove right now, 100% renewable, because I buy FCS, FSC certified trees for my wood burning. Do you recycle? Yeah, I do. I can see the bins. They're just out the back of the house. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I'll take those points, thank you. Yeah, no. Anyway.
Yeah. But it's funny because it is a marketing tool, being a B Corp. But I think that because it isn't something that you can just do, You can't just pay to be a B Corp.
Sure.
You have to go through the process, and I think it is good. And I do feel, to an extent, you are penalised if you're not a corporate that's going through it, because they have the infrastructure to affect this change. But
Right.
I do think that it means that you can't just be Mr. Enterprise and say, "Oh yeah, I'm a good guy now."
Right. Yeah.
I think
No,
that,
no,
as you say,
it has to be.
it has to come from the top.
Yeah.
And we need to affect change meaningfully, and we're not going to do that if it's someone just kind of brushing it under the rug. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Hey, no, I hear you. No, and I think that's sort of one of the bigger gripes I maybe have with the process is around I forget the section in the accreditation process, but it's basically around like the buy to give or the doing good with your business model. And it's like if you were a humongous global corporate and you set up a foundation and you were to then be able to say we give 2% of our revenue to a foundation, it's like boom, there's 25 points and you're likely to get yourself over the line. So it's like, I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, that's my thoughts on the B Corp process. We're still keen to do it though. Don't get me wrong. Like we are. We're gonna do it. And I think our customers have every right to ask us, like, how do you account for this? How do you measure your impact? Like what I guess what proof can you provide us that you are the good guys that you're saying you are? But it's like once you open that can of worms, you're like, well then we've had maybe two, I forget the name of them, but it was like another customer was asking her, like, it's called the gold standard. We're like, what's this one now? And then obviously the B Corp, and organic,
it's
fair
like
trade,
award ceremonies, pay to win. Well, that's another subject altogether. So you mentioned that your customers are more savvy. They're kind of chimed into ethical buying, buying with purpose. And I agree. I think that there's been a massive change in the last few years about people's choosing to be more educated and more savvy about what they're doing. Do you think that, I was trying to avoid talking about coronavirus, but it has given people a lot of time to be appreciative of what they have or had, and be more conscious about what they're doing. Do you think that we're going to see another shift after, or already happening as a result of that? Increased time
for sure, 100%. So like we have a mentor who prefers to remain nameless. I've never mentioned said person's name online, but like FTSE 100 consultant type, like C-suite, and he or she often gives me like the phone calls for like, what's the intel down south? And I guess like we've felt it was coming for a while, but it's been told to us like in explicit terms. Corporates want to do impactful things. They want to do meaningful things. They know that like the public opinion has totally changed. Like we're coming out of this thing completely different people. So yeah, for sure, COVID is definitely having an impact on corporates wanting to be seen, to be doing the right thing, to be seen, to be doing things with impact. And for us as a business, that can only be a good thing, right? Like it's the very core of what we do, so it can only be a good thing. I mean, the challenge for us, the challenge around COVID is, I mean, and again, same mentor was explaining, and we've kind of gone through it, but when it's that way where someone else is telling you it, you're like, okay, that makes a lot more sense than me just being lost in my thoughts. But it was like lockdown, then furlough, then anyone that was European went home in August to go home and see their family. And now they're only back in September, October, thinking, well, we're now reorganizing all of our internal structures, and now we would like to crack on with a bit of work. So for us, it's been that sort of 6-month period of our target market wasn't in the office, went home, didn't know what they were doing, didn't know what budgets they had, and it's only now at this point that they're starting to
get more clarity.
Want to do impactful things with the work that they do. So
no, fair enough. So if anybody who hopefully watches this video would like to get involved as a corporate customer, what would you suggest to do?
Please check out the website. Buy our stuff. No, it's that. Check out the website, powerlife.com. We've got the chat bots. You should have email captures on like every page, and hopefully it does a good job of explaining what we do. And we are a small outfit, right? So like if you do fill in an email capture, it's probably me or Paul that will be speaking to you. So don't be afraid that we're not going to spam you. We're not those kinds of people. But if you want to see what we're doing, powerlife.com.
Awesome. Great. Well, thank you very much for taking part in this foray, this very first foray into videos. I've been putting off, as I said before, for a long time because it's totally out of my comfort zone. But you've been
You're a
an
natural,
outstanding
Josh.
first
You're a
guest.
natural.
Well, you say that. So this is the first video in a series exploring tech for good, and as we've already understood, tech for good doesn't necessarily mean it's entirely technology based. It is a series of values. It's a value system, and it's an approach. And as Jeremy, you said, it can wear many different hats. It can be perceived in many different ways, but it fits a kind of general kind of tone. So I think next up, my next guest is going to be Gavin Neat from Neatbox. Jeremy, I think you know him as well.
Yeah.
And if you'd like any more information about Tech for Good and about how us at Geared App think about it and how we try and live it, you can find some more information on our website at gearedapp.co.uk. But in the meantime, Jeremy, I think the phones are going to be off the hook shortly once I upload this video.
So. Let's hope so.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you very much.
Pleasure.
And cheers, guys.